morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning as we celebrate this grand opening, which also happens to fall during our celebration of Renewable Fuels Month. As you can see, joining me here in the podium is we have some great dignitaries that will be saying a few words here shortly. First of all, I'm Kelly Bronkhorst. I serve as the Executive Director for Nebraska Corn. As we lead it up to Memorial Day and the unofficial kickoff of our summer driving season, we want to take this opportunity to communicate and have conversations with consumers about renewable fuels and the value they bring with both economics and the environment. One of the ways we accomplish this is working with Governor Ricketts and his administration to proclaim May as Renewable Fuels Month. For nearly 15 years, Nebraska Corn Board has been working with current and past governors to highlight renewable fuels across our state. Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts has been a tireless advocate for Nebraska's ethanol and biodiesel industries. Governor Ricketts have traveled to EPA hearings to testify, communicated issues with our federal agencies, and hosted EPA officials to relay our issues around implementation of the renewable fuel standard and advocating for year-round E15. Governor Ricketts, thank you for taking time today, and the podium is yours.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Kelly. I want to say thank you to Kelly and the Corn Board for having us out here this morning, as well as Nathaniel Doddridge, who is representing Casey's, and of course Sarah Caswell, who is with the Ethanol Board. So we're very pleased here today to be here not only for the grand opening, but also with regard to, as Kelly said, Renewable Fuels Month. And we really want consumers to know why using ethanol is so important, why looking for those renewable fuels means so much to our state. The first thing they should know is that when you use renewable fuels, you're going to save money at the pump. That is going to help stretch your grocery budget. So coming to Casey's, filling up with ethanol is going to save you money. That's the first thing we want consumers to know. The second thing we want consumers to know is that this is going to be good for the environment. Now, one of the things that you do with gasoline is you need to have a higher octane so that the gasoline burns cleaner. One of the ways you can do that is with petroleum-based products, which cause cancer. They've got carcinogens in them. Or you can use ethanol. And if you use ethanol, you can get that octane boost and help clean up the environment. In fact, if you use ethanol, it'll actually reduce greenhouse gas emissions by about 43%, reduce carbon black emissions by about 45%, and reduce hydrocarbon emissions by about 20%. All this help cleans up the environment and make sure we've got great clean air to breathe like we do here in Nebraska. So this is an important thing to be able to help the environment as well. And then of course the third thing we want consumers to know is that this is great for the state of Nebraska. Nebraska is the second leading ethanol producing state. We've got 25 plants. And this not only creates jobs in our small towns and rural communities where those ethanol plants are often located, but it also helps out our farmers. Ethanol uses about 40% of all the corn that we grow here in our state. And especially at a time when we see low corn prices, we want to give that support to our farmers by using products that help use corn. Not only do we want to do that, but we also want to let people know that this is something we should be selling overseas as well. The Trump administration, for example, has opened up Japan for ethanol exports so that we can help them clean up their environment as well. So this has got a great opportunity not only here in our country to be able to help our farmers and ranchers and help clean up the air, but the ability to do that all around the world. Now, as Kelly said, one of the things we want to do is we want to go out and make sure people know about this. We want to help educate consumers. And we also want to work with the administration on how we can promote ethanol. Now, one of the things I do is I work with the EPA with regard to some of the rules and regulations. So, for example, one of the things the Trump administration has proposed is that allow us to sell E15 all year round. Right now, we're limited during the summer months in selling E15, and I know that makes it tough on marketers like Casey here to be able to sell that. So we want to make sure that we can do that all year long. The EPA has promised they're going to put a regulation out here, we're hoping by about June 1st, so that we catch the summer driving season, so we'll be able to use E15 all year long. We also work with the administration on a test that we're going to start June 3rd here in our state, which will be using our state vehicles. We will use higher blends of ethanol, specifically E30, in our vehicles that use E15. So right now, if you've got a car that's 2001 or newer, you can use E15 in just about any regular car or truck that's on the road. That actually is about 90% of all the cars and trucks on the road. So what we want to do is make sure that we show that you can use E30 in those vehicles as well. So we're going to do a test on our state vehicles, working with the University of Nebraska, that will keep track of mileage and maintenance and really collect the data to dispel some of the myths out there with regard to using higher blends of ethanol in your car. So that's another great way that we can add to the body of data to show consumers that, hey, it's okay to use higher blends of ethanol in your car. We also want to make sure that people know that they can use this E15 by talking about things like declaring Renewable Fuels Month, and that these pumps are going to be available. Like here at Casey's, you've got both E15 and E85. And in fact, working together with the industry, we've more than doubled the amount of pumps that use higher blends of ethanol to over 100 now here in the state in just the last 2 years. So it's increasingly become more available for people to use higher blends of ethanol as well. So again, for all these reasons, we're making it more available. It's going to save you money at the pump. It's going to clean up the environment. It's good for our farmers and ranchers. We want people to use ethanol. Try it out. Check it out in your car. You're going to save money at the pump, and you're going to be doing all these wonderful things for our state, for our country, and for our world. And that's one of the reasons why then we also declare May as Renewable Fuels Month, to help highlight all those great benefits from biofuels. So with that, I am going to go ahead and sign this proclamation. I'm going to spare you all. It's rather a lengthy proclamation, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it basically covers a lot of the things I already just talked about with regard to why ethanol is so good for our state. So, with my signature, we are officially proclaimed Renewable Fuels Month here in Nebraska. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Kelly Brunkhorst, who is going to introduce our next speaker.
A key necessity in expanding the availability and adoption of higher level blends of ethanol is through infrastructure. By providing choices to consumers and through education, we're able to further enhance Nebraska's biofuel industry, which benefits consumers and the state of Nebraska. Partnerships are critical, and improving infrastructure can be challenging. We are fortunate to have a solid partner in Casey's, who is working to offer more biofuels choices at their retail locations. This grand opening marks a continued effort by Casey's in offering E15 and higher level blends of ethanol. And here today is Nathaniel Dodridge, Director of Fuels. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. So I will say that when I joined the Casey's realm back in August of 2017, we had renewable fuels in the E10 at every single one of our stores in our chain, but we only had 5 stores in our entire company that had higher blends of ethanol. And so since then, I will tell you that from the help of people like the Corn Board and the Ethanol Board, the Roger Berries of the world, we're really excited to tell you that out of our 2,100 locations across 16 states, we now have over 100 locations selling higher blends of ethanol. Thank you. One of our challenges is education. The governor mentioned that, and we're going to continue to educate our customers about the importance of higher blends of ethanol. The one thing you can't argue with is the value. You look at our stores, you look at the price, there is a significant value in what higher blends adds to our customers. The other big piece of this is 60% of our locations are in towns of 5,000 or less. The farmers that are coming to our locations every single day to get their breakfast pizza, to get their donuts, to get all the things that Casey's is known for, is now going to have that opportunity to get higher blends of ethanol. So we're actually giving back in the form of our fuel and form of our discounts. And so that's something we're extremely excited about. We're going to continue to fight the good fight in regards to the 1 pound waiver. We're excited about what's coming, hopefully in June 1, when we can sell E15 year round. We feel like that really opens up the market for higher blends of ethanol. But until then, we're going to continue to open locations like we have here in Omaha, like we have in Cozad, Nebraska, that we opened last Friday. We just bought a handful of locations here in Omaha that we're looking to add higher blends in. So we're continuing to figure out how can we add that value to the customers? How can we continue to give back to our communities? And it's a no-brainer for us that higher blends is the way to do that. So again, thank you for allowing us to be a part of this. We love being a partner that you guys can rely on. It might have taken us a little bit longer to kind of come to the table and really go all in on higher blends, but I will tell you, we're here to stay, and we're excited about where we're going to go. So again, thank you for having us, and thank you for being here.
Another partner here in Nebraska that is laser focused on ethanol is the Nebraska Ethanol Board. Today we are joined by Administrator Sarah Coswell. Sarah had joined the Nebraska Ethanol Board in September of 2018. Sarah has a deep background in promoting biofuels, especially the policy perspective while spending time in Washington, D.C. Sarah, thank you for being here.
Thank you for your introduction, Kelly, and thank you to the governor for being here and for your great remarks, and to Nathaniel and the investment that Casey's is making toward adding higher blends throughout its stores. I am the administrator of the Nebraska Ethanol Board, and I'm also a mom to James, who is over there. James unfortunately had some respiratory challenges from the time he was 3 months old until he was 5. And for every gallon of ethanol that is used to replace petroleum, it reduces tailpipe emissions, which have been shown to lead to asthma or contribute to asthma and other illnesses like cancer, like the governor had mentioned. And so as a mom, especially, I am thrilled about Casey's investment today and in the future and its commitment to higher blends. And I encourage everyone here and everyone in the state of Nebraska to utilize E15 as often as they can to not only help our environment, help our economy, but also to show the retailers that they're making a good investment and to encourage them to continue their investments in higher blends of fuel. I will continue to be working toward and looking forward to EPA's rule that should come out before June 1st to allow these retailers to sell E15 year-round throughout the country. And with that rule and with the increased demand from consumers, hopefully it will lead to higher blends of ethanol being used and reduce tailpipe emissions. Thank you very much for being here today. This is a really exciting day for Nebraska and for Casey's. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you all for being here. Thank you, Governor. We'll do a ribbon cutting in just a second, but I do want to recognize some additional dignitaries that are joining us. Representing further Governor Ricketts' administration is Nebraska Department of Agriculture Director Steve Wellman and Assistant Director Amelia Brining, Communications Director Kristen Cam in the background. We also want to thank from my board of directors, our chairman David Brunts and Jay Reiners, a board member from down by Juniata from the Nebraska Ethanol Board. We have Jan Tinsbinsel, chairman of the Nebraska Ethanol Board. And did I forget anybody else? Troy Bradenkamp, who also represents Renewable Fuels Nebraska. All great partners with us, and we greatly appreciate, Governor Ricketts, your partnership, and especially Casey's as you continue to develop the opportunities. So, and all the staff that are making this possible today as we begin to pump some gasoline here at 10 o'clock. So let's do the ribbon cutting.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
You mentioned on quad checks. You want to cut this?
Here's Governor. You want to help him?
All right, so here's the deal again. Yeah, so when you cut this down, you gotta get your hand out of here so it doesn't be there. Down below, put down below. There. All right, put the camera, smile. All right, then you want to count us down to 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.